So let's come back to national law in a minute. Despite lengthy delays in investigation and AHPRA's commitment to this Senate to achieve timely investigations, and keeping in mind that the Section 156 suspension powers under so-called national law are meant to be only an emergency and temporary measure for the most serious of threats to the health and safety of the public, how long can we expect AHPRA to keep maintaining the suspension of doctors and nurses and medical professionals around Australia who have expressed concerns regarding these vaccines, these injections, which now, in light of best available evidence, those concerns are well justified? You've been suppressing medical professionals, giving their honest advice and going against and forcing them to go against the Hippocratic Oath or to surrender.
So, Senator, I reject the assertion that you've made that we have in any way been censoring practitioners. What we have said in that statement is that we expect that people in dealing with patients use the best available evidence and their clinical judgment. That is an obligation that has been in the Code of Conduct for Registered Health Practitioners that predates COVID-19. There is no change in that. Suspension is an interim measure while we investigate, and it has to meet a legal threshold under the national law. And sometimes one of the reasons why suspension is extended or takes over a period of time is because a practitioner exercises their right to appeal that suspension, either to a tribunal or a court. And obviously, while those appeals are underway, we put our work on hold. So, but essentially, the suspension is there, as I say, to allow us, on the one hand, to ensure there is appropriate public protection, meeting a legal threshold under the national law while we investigate.
Are you aware that some of the country's best medical people, best specialists, are telling me that they are silent and changing their behaviour because they're suppressed by AHPRA? Are you aware of that?
I have read the commentary on that, yes.
Chair, can I just make a comment? Senator Roberts keeps asserting that there's new evidence that the vaccines are not safe or effective. We completely refute that suggestion. Well, but there is no credible scientific evidence that the vaccines.
That's a false statement.
No, sorry, Senator. I'm going on the best available scientific evidence, and I don't think we should be able to make that statement continually.
I'll keep making a statement based on science.
Well, it can't be left unchallenged.
Senator, he can challenge it, but I'm not going to.
Senator Roberts, I was listening carefully. Before you asked your last question, I was going to remind you that it's important that you put these as questions rather than statements. I believe you put not your last question, but the question before as a challenge, as a sentence without a question at the end of it. I think it's appropriate in that case for the witnesses at the table to respond. But the best way through this is to put questions, and then we can hear answers.
No, I'm happy to show you my questions.
I'll pass back to you. Well, Senator Roberts, I was listening carefully. I'm happy to have a discussion if I misheard, but in not your last question, but the question before, I didn't hear a question put. I heard a statement put. But anyway, you have another supplementary question before I seek to move the call on. It just does assist the process of the committee if we frame this as questions and answers. I won't continue the rest of the spiel that I've been doing for the past 2.5 days.